Good afternoon. Welcome to Villa Coola. I was just about to, for the first time in a couple of weeks, head out for probably a short hike across the street from my place here on Willoughby Run. I'm headed across the street to the Harmon Farm, which is part of the Gettysburg National Battlefield, and it's a nice place to hike. Not too many people go there. It's very peaceful. It's one of my favorite places. And welcome to Villa Coola, my pad. But I just wanted to share a short bit that's part of my hopefully more consistent upcoming series called the Frugal Backpacker. Back 25 years ago, even Sage's mother would say, I don't believe in paying $100 for a $5 piece of fabric. And I still am a very frugal person, even though back in the day we had plenty of money to buy the good stuff at full price. I've been a proponent of thrift stores my whole life. But as part of my series, the Frugal Backpacker, what prompted me to start the series was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. My friend Rick from Kansas sent me a message saying, I wish I could do what you do, but I can't afford it. I'm a blue collar guy, and all that equipment costs so much money. And looks can be deceiving, I realized. You guys see me with kelty equipment, North Face equipment, merrell. I have really high-end equipment. I have Alps equipment, everything. And granted, I've been collecting stuff for decades. But the thing is one thing that I never realized is most people don't know that I didn't pay $400 for my coat. I didn't pay $300 for my pants. But the coat and pants that I own, that is what they cost in the store, but that's not what I paid for them. And so I figured that my frugal shopping habits my tips could perhaps be valuable to people out there who would like to do at least what I've done more consistently in the past. I feel like hell today. For those of you who haven't been tuning in, I have multiple sclerosis. Today I feel like I got hit by a truck and I am exhausted. I feel like I ran 10 miles. But my best personal remedy for my ailments are to force myself to get out and do the things I want to do, and I'll probably feel like $1,000,000 once I do. In any event, without further ado, I wanted to share some of my equipment with you and what I really paid for it, and how you can also pay these kinds of prices for Columbia, North Face, Merrell, Alps equipment, stuff like that. I wanted to share some of my junk with you. And so, my friend, the professor, gave me a ride the other day. Some of you are aware of the fact that I have narcolepsy, so I'm a little weary of driving. I'm losing the feeling in my right leg. I don't have feeling in my right leg between my knee and my hip. So I don't drive much these days. In any event, my daughter will be driving me places that I need to go. And I'm still not going to let that stop me from getting out and hiking. But in any event, my good friend Gary, the professor, my hiking buddy, my Civil War messmate buddy, my partner in crime, he gave me a ride to the thrift stores the other day. And I just picked up a couple of items. And for the winter, and welcome to my mess, when you're as sick as I am, and I'm known as a very neat person. I haven't had the energy to keep up with my place for the last year, but I'll do a before and after tour sometime once I get this place back in shape. In any event, I love my apartment. I love where I live. Gettysburg's a beautiful place, and I really like my apartment. I've got a great view. You can see the mountains. In any event, I'm the king of making a short story long. But in any event, what I needed was a pair of thick, tough camping pants that were fleece lined in my size, preferably brown. Okay, and I always seem to have I always seem to have the luck of finding just what I'm looking for at thrift stores. Everything from brand new Levi's to backpacks, what have you. So I'm just going to shoot through a few things today, most that I've gotten in the past. And this will be a much larger series in the future. I won't be outdoors and active in the hot months. I'll be more active in the cooler months due to my multiple sclerosis. In any event, so I was searching for a pair of brown pants, thick, something to wear out in the winter, fleece lined, something tough, camping pants, and I just happened to find a nice pair of Coleman's, my size. These babies are brand new, fleece lined, freshly laundered, my size, thick, tough, and these will be my new winter hiking pants. And I picked these up on 50% off Tuesdays at the thrift store in the nearby town in Hanover where they make pretzels. And I paid $2 for those pants. At Walmart or any of the other stores that I saw these same Coleman pants, these were 30 bucks or more. I didn't check the price online, but if you're aware of my financial situation is extremely strained. I'm on temporary partial disability. I do not have full disability. I'm trying to market my photography, and so I'm on an extremely tight budget. I have 9 people who are patrons of my art, and they receive rewards of photography for monthly patronage of $1 and up. And it's a really good alternative and new outlet for me to do something with my art to supplement my income. In any event, my budget is very strained, but fortunately I learned a lot in life and how to survive on very little, and travel very far and wide on very little. Doing Europe for 300 bucks, 25, 30 years ago, it was doable. In any event, my Coleman pants I scored for a couple of bucks. I mean, these are $30 pants, fleece lined. They're seriously, if you were here, you would see that these look like they're right off the rack. Okay? And I scored one of my favorite product brands is Columbia. I love Columbia clothes. Green and brown, my colors. I wore green and brown in the green industry, doing landscaping and horticulture and botany for 30 years. And I scored this Columbia button down for $2, 50% off. I mean, this thing doesn't have any rips in it, tears in it, no stains, nothing. It's like a brand new shirt. So, $2 for this shirt. Now, last year, I scored my Columbia parka, and it's probably got 6 to 8 pockets in it, interior pockets for phones. It's got a zip out hood. It's an Anchor Peak parka made by Columbia. This baby is brand new. I mean, I've worn it for a couple of seasons, maybe 1 season. I've worn this for 1 winter, and it has a liner that comes out, a fleece liner, which I'll show you in a minute. But this new is priced between $350 and $400, and I scored this jacket for $7 at the same thrift store that I go to. Granted, the products that I can find at these stores have a lot to do with where I live. The Appalachian Trail halfway point is 10 miles from my house. The Appalachian Trail Conservancy at headquarters is 40 minutes away. Pine Grove Furnace, where there's an Appalachian Trail Conservancy, is 10 miles from my house. So the kinds of products that people drop off at thrift stores where I live are really high-end good hiking gear, and so I'm lucky in that regard. In any event, to move on, you guys see me wear my favorite sweater all the time. It's an American Eagle outfitter. I love American Eagle clothes, but this is 100%. It's Shetland wool from the Shetland Islands, straight from my Viking cousins, and this keeps me super warm all winter long. And I mean, I scored this for $4. At any department store, this is anywhere between $50 and $100 sweater. Wool sweaters like this are usually about $100 or more. And I picked that up at a thrift store, I don't know, 3 years ago. So another thing that I pick up as I wear as a layer is this Eddie Bauer vest that I picked up at the thrift stores. And I mean, I picked this up for like $2-3. And the thing's brand new, multi-pockets, fleece. The interior is a windbreaker interior. And I wear this for layering. And it is the Eddie Bauer wind cutter vest, and I'll wear that as a layer underneath my liner, underneath my parka. I'm out in the snow. I won't be doing as much as I used to do because I've fallen really ill in the last year, but I love to go snowshoeing. I love snowshoeing. I love cross-country skiing. And so layering is very important. My rule for layering and being out in the wintertime, my number one rule is when you're out in the elements, you should be as comfortable out there as you are sitting on your couch. This is my Columbia liner, my fleece liner that came with my parka, and it zips out. It's got its own exterior and interior pockets for my MP3 player, my phone, my GoPro equipment, my GoPro I'm holding in my hand right now. In any event, this liner came with my parka. Like I said, I paid $7-8 for that parka. I paid $2-3 for this vest. I paid about $4 for that wool sweater. The liner came with the parka. My Columbia shirt, $2. My fleece lined pants, $2. We're looking at 2, 4, 7, 11. Under $20. I paid under $20 for that outfit, okay? And that's a complete outfit minus the socks. I paid under $20 for a $350 parka, a $100 wool sweater. This Eddie Bauer's easily $30. That Columbia shirt, $30. Those Coleman pants, $30. I mean, do the math. 30, 60, 100, 200, $500 right there. $500 in clothing I spent $20 on. And you can do that too. It takes some time, it takes some picking, it takes some looking. Go consistently to thrift stores and you'll find those kinds of deals. You'll find a good thrift store in your area where people are dropping off really good gear. My North Face backpack. Okay, this is a $300 backpack, $400 backpack. Granted, it's 20 years old. That speaks for itself. North Face makes good gear, but I'm not going to pay $400, $500, $600, $1,000 for a backpack. Okay, that's a lot of burgers and that's a lot of beer. So on Facebook, on the internet, even 20 years ago, there were websites on the internet that were, one real popular one that I use on Facebook is Bigfoot's Backyard Flea Market. And people have the best intentions that they're going to go out and they're going to hike the Appalachian Trail, they're going to do the Muir Trail, they're going to do the Adirondack 42 Peaks, Pacific Crest Trail, whatever. They get out there for a day, they're not a huge nature fan, and they realize it's not for them. And they dump off their equipment on a backyard yard sale group on Facebook. And you'll find stuff like that. You'll find stuff like a North Face pack for $40, which is what I paid for that pack. And back in the day, that was a $350 pack I paid $40 for. The person used it for one weekend and it wasn't for them, and they went back to their cubicle. So stuff like that's out there. You just have to, be patient. You have to be consistent. You have to find good places. You might have to, drive 20 minutes away like I do. And you'll find good gear like that. My boots are a totally different story. I have a closet full of hiking boots. I have a closet full of really nice upscale Italian leather dress shoes, all kinds of Adidas sneakers. And the thing is it's a little bit of an odd story about how I come by all of my really great footwear. I probably have more shoes than most girls I know. And on that note, dicks aren't for me. In case you ever wondered, no, I like chicks. But in any event, my boots, these merrells, I hope you can see it. It's been dark in here lately. And hitecs. I like hitecs. A lot of people don't wear hitecs. I love hitecs. Hitecs are tough boots. I've had a lot of really good luck with hitecs over the years. I've been wearing hitecs for over 25 years, if I can find them. Back where I grew up, there's a store called Farm and Fleet. And Farm and Fleet sells excellent hitecs. And the hitecs that they sell are a lot like the old school Danner boots that were really popular in the 70s. And Danner still makes boots. But Hitec has kind of evolved and made, in my opinion, a better version of the old Danners. But how I come by my boots. Unfortunately, for my friend the professor and my brother Rick, my friend the professor and my brother Rick both have really bad ankles. They have ankle issues. And that really sucks. I hate to have ankle issues like they do. But so what they do is they are both people who can afford to buy really expensive boots. And what they do is they buy a really good pairs of merrells and hitecs. I got the hitecs from my brother. I got the merrells. The merrells in the middle I bought myself on sale. They were like $40. But the merrells on the right, my friend the professor gave them to me for my birthday. And my brother and my friend the professor wore those boots once, and the boots didn't work out for them. So rather than taking them back or getting a refund for them, they sent them to me and they passed them on to me. And that's how I have most of my really expensive footwear. So my friend Rick out in Kansas, who, he assumed that Daryl goes out and blows tons of money on high-end hiking gear. This is the truth of the matter. I'm a really frugal person. When I go grocery shopping, I use coupons. I completely smart shop. My friend the professor, who I hang out with most of the time, who's really been there for me this last year, I'm so grateful. The guy's really been the most supportive person in my life, next to my landlord, this year through my illness. He made the comment, he goes, I told him about how he gives me a ride to the grocery store, and when I'm in the grocery store shopping, I'm going over prices and products, and I realize I can get a cheaper, same brand at the store right next door. And he made the comment, he goes, my gosh, guy, he goes, you're a really smart shopper. And I was like, yeah, I save, $40 a month when I do have money to eat. And I do have money to eat these days. By the way, just a real quick update, I am out of my debt, primarily, for the most part, because of those people who walked the walk instead of just talking the talk. 9 people stood up to support my artistic effort. For those of you who don't understand what I'm trying to do, there were several people who contacted me who thought what I was doing was a charity or some kind of fund drive, and that's not what I'm doing. My brother described me once as someone who wants a hand up I don't want to hand out. If you give to me, I will give back to you. I'm not looking for charity. And so through my Patreon effort, through those people becoming patrons of my artwork, I have been able to successfully pull myself out of debt, and through the generosity of my friend the professor, I am no longer in danger of being evicted. That entire financial disaster this year was partially caused by me no longer being employed. I was sick and unable to go back to work as a master gardener. So, living on $1,000 a month and having $1,000 taken away a month is a really big deal. It affects anybody's life profoundly and negatively. I digress, as usual. May the gloom find you smiling. I feel like shit, but I try not to let that dampen my mood. I wanted to make this a really short video and just go over a few pieces of equipment. I'm going to go over and say hello to a friend of mine, have a cup of coffee, and grab an audiobook and head outside. I haven't been out for a long walk or a hike in weeks. And I'm going to head out and I'll continue this video during my walk with some other tidbits. But I hope for most of you, a lot of this stuff that I share is old hat. Going to thrift stores. Half of the people have access to this video. People have known me for 30 years. You go to thrift stores, I know you personally. You're smart people. Looking for the retro vintage stuff or, camping gear. A lot of stuff that I share it's old hat for a lot of people. But for a lot of people, it's not. Like my friend who hit me up thinking that I'm spending all this dough on hiking gear, and I'm really not. One of the reasons that I decided to do this short video series entitled The Frugal Backpacker is when you get on Instagram or you get on Facebook or you get on Twitter or YouTube, you're seeing these people that all look like supermodels, and they are packing, $1 million in gear. They're spending tens of thousands of dollars going to locales. They're staying in Ritz hotels, and they're getting thousands of likes, and they're getting thousands of hits and comments. And one predominant factor I've noticed in those types of really popular people and personalities who are posting this is, one, they all look like supermodels. Two, booty sells. They're always, showing some sexy picture of their girlfriend's ass in a thong. And granted, no, you're not going to see a picture of my hairy ass in a thong. I'm hoping that I can provide you with, some valuable information on how you can do the things that I've done in my life. And I've traveled far and wide. I have traveled far and wide. I've traveled coast to coast, Europe, backpack on next to nothing for a lot of years in my life. I know a lot of people who are world travelers. These are people who have been everywhere. And those people would tell you that I've been everywhere, even though there's so many places I'd still like to see before I take a walk on the Rainbow Bridge. But I'm hoping that you find something valuable in what I have to share. And I'm not going to be getting your likes or your comments because I'm showing a picture of some chick's ass. I don't find any value in that, whatever. But that's not what my series is about. My series is about helping furnish people with some information that they can use so that they can live a life that they want to live. A life to do and pursue the things that they want to do. You want to hike the AT, it doesn't cost shit. There's a lot of people that go out there and they spend thousands on hiking the AT and the Rockies and the Thorsmjork in Iceland or the Kiruna, the Kungsleden in Sweden. And the thing is you can do that on a budget too. You can do that on minimum wage. It's doable. You don't have to, have millionaire parents to do stuff like that, and you don't have to generate your income to travel and be in the outdoors and pursue your outdoor hobby by posting pictures of your girlfriend's ass, on Instagram. So there's other ways of doing things. In any event, over $500 in clothing sitting on my couch that I didn't even spend 20 bucks on. And that stuff will last me for years. My backpack I got for 40 bucks was a $350 backpack. I mean, it's lasted me for 20 years. My snowshoes, last but not least, little PS, thank you, Lori Erickson, my friend from back home, where I grew up. Not really my home anymore. I've lived elsewhere in the world longer than where I grew up, than where I lived in my hometown till I was 17, I think. But I've lived in Colorado and Virginia and Pennsylvania longer. In any event, I hope you find something valuable. Thanks for bearing with me, putting up with my exhausted ass, and I hope I didn't slur my words with my brain fog from multiple sclerosis too much. And I'm gonna head out. So come along and go for a walk with me. I'm hoping that I'm gonna see something pretty, and I'm going to take out my Lumix camera with my Leica lens. It's Panasonic, with a killer 60x zoom. It's a great camera, and I hope I can. The leaves are off the trees, so I'm hoping I see some eagles, some hawks, some birds, something pretty, something wonderful. So come along, join me. Thanks for tuning in.